All right, I'm going to look at the muscles. Now we're going to use a lot of separate models here. So some of the models that I'm going to use, you can't really see like all of the muscles that are on your word list. So let's kind of go through things on the neck. On the neck right here, you can really see a very good sternohyoid. Right, comes from the sternum, goes to the hyoid bone. Sternohyoid is medial. The omohyoid down here comes down and then goes and crisscrosses across there. Now, what we're missing here is the sternocleidomastoid. The sternocleidomastoid is a little bit more superficial right here. So in order to see this, the omo and the sterno better, here's the omohyoid, here's the sternohyoid. We have to remove the sternocleidomastoid on that side. As we go a little bit closer, right, we'll, with the stylohyoid, the best example of a stylohyoid is where we have kind of removed some of the actual tissue. The mandible has been removed on this side. Then we can see, number one, the posterior posterior belly of the digastric. You can see the stylohyoid muscle and the styloglossus muscle as well, all coming in from the styloid process, and the posterior digastric goes to the mastoid process. The mylohyoid forms the actual floor of our oral cavity. So this mylohyoid forms that floor that allows us to drink without anything kind of moving around it and spilling through our throat. Now, as we go towards the front right here, I'm gonna take a look at, all right, so here we talked about the omohyoid. Here is the superior belly, and down here, inferior belly. Now we can also see the scalenes here. Anterior, all right, intermediate, and then posterior scalenes right here. Now I'll show you a better view of the scalenes coming up. As we look up a little bit more, we're gonna see that, right, the actual oral cavity, or surrounding the mouth, you have the orbicularis oris. Then you have the mentalis right here. Then you have, right, you have the depressor anguli oris, depressor labii inferioris, and this one right here going across is the rhizorius. Then back here, this is the masseter, and this is the parotid gland above the masseter. As we move a little bit more, zygomaticus major, separated from the zygomaticus minor. The zygomaticus minor is going to also be found with this levator palpebrae superioris, which is number 29 over here. Now, when you take a look as well, you see the nasalis muscle right here, number 27. And then the procerus muscle, a triangular muscle right here, that kind of forms the start of our frontalis muscle. Now, the frontalis is part of the combination of, right, three different muscles, or two different muscles, and then very thick, strong connective tissue. So you have the frontal belly, and then the occipital belly way back here, and then you have the gallia epineurotica, otherwise known as the epicranial epineurosis. So that's the scalp region right here. This area right here, this is the temporalis muscle. Now the temporalis, I'm going to show you in a second. You see it much better, all right, in another model where we can be a little bit, we kind of remove all the superficial muscles. So here's the full breadth of the temporalis muscle. It's huge, right? This is a buccinator. The buccinator is deep and it forms the wall of your cheeks. So if you touch your tongue to your cheeks, you'll feel that kind of, tissue on the side. That's your buccinator muscle right there, right? Then you can see the nasalis over here. And I don't know if you can see this real closely, this little thing right here, that's your corrugator supercilii right here, right? You have the orbicularis oculi, and then over here forming your eyelid is your levator palpebrae, right? Again, the levator palpebrae forms the eyelid, allows us to see a little bit higher up and to have an open eye. On this model, we can see the hyoid, the thyrohyoid membrane. Here's your hyoid. Here is your thyroid cartilage. Here's your thyrohyoid membrane. Your thyrohyoid muscle. And then over here, you see the cricothyroid muscle. Now, the name of these muscles are great because they're named after the cartilage and the bones are connected to. So this comes from the cricoid to the thyroid, cricothyroid muscle. And then this is the median cricothyroid ligament right here. Now again, all of these are deep to the sternohyoid and the omohyoid, which are deep to the sternocleidomastoid, which is also deep to the platysma. The platysma you don't really see well on any of the models because usually they're very, very superficial.